Right, we're currently in front of our green mamba enclosure, and just to put this all into perspective for anybody watching this, is that this enclosure is 2.4 meters wide at the back. So the width 2.4 meters, and it is 5.5 meters long, and a meter from the back there is a 1.2 meter wide and 1 meter deep French drain being installed, and this runs across the whole board of the 5 parallel enclosures and runs out the back of the Ndlondlo property. Even in spite of that, we have had flooding in here where the water level rose right up. You can see it on the side wall over there, and at that point it was about 340 millimeters in depth. So that's how deep the water level became inside this enclosure. Now the green mambas, and I'm going to zoom in on them, they're stuck up there. There you can see them. The green mambas are sitting now at about 1.3 meters off the ground, 1.4 meters off the ground, and that was great for them. They've got black light heating in here which is sufficient, and so on. But in spite of our precautions and the drainage that we put in, it was still insufficient and the water dammed up. Now this is due to our whole facility being on a clay bank, and so drainage off the clay is gravity based, and outside of our facility there are a number of undulations, and to the right of where we're looking now is I wouldn't say a steep, but a sufficient incline to the top. So the amount of water that rushed down and hit our back wall, which would be that one in frame at the moment. There we go, zoomed out, and you can see there that back wall. Beyond that there's an incline up for around about 120 meters, and the water just came down, hit that back wall, and came through the panels, because these panels all have slight gaps in them. I'm going to try and zoom in on the back. You get to see the gaps in the panels. There are gaps in the panels there that are certainly not watertight, and deliberately not made watertight, because we open air with tunnel plastic over the top, and in the case of any failure we would have wanted a good measure of water drainage out, but no snakes can go out, and I think we perfectly achieved that through this process. So now we have to go back to the drawing board. All these cages have to be uprooted, the levels lifted, and we need to change our concept throughout these 5 cages to be similar to these cages here at the back. Now these cages are lifted well above the ground. Alright, here we're just going to have a preview over the sort of geography of these 5 enclosures, and you'll see the white panels over there that are in view, and this is unfortunately fully zoomed out, is the back wall, Then we carry on into the black mamba enclosure over there, which is a similar size to this green mamba enclosure that we're looking at and have just had a look at. So there you can see the green mambas in there. And then if you look down, behind that plant there is another 3 enclosures that normally house forest cobras and Cape cobra and, well, snouted cobra and Sheart's cobra, whatever. But they house down there. And the back panel that you can see over there that's got the mesh on the top is the tortoise enclosure at the back. And we are on a slope here, I would say probably about 8 to 10 degrees slope going downward. But like I said, on the other side, outside our property, there is a rise, as they've got a skateboard ramp there, or skateboard track, bicycle track out there, and the water dams up and falls back, and we cannot disturb that. So the only solution that we have is that we need to lift these 5 enclosures up off the ground in the same fashion that we've done these. Now these are our latest enclosures that we put in, having learnt from previous sort of flooding encounters, but that have never been as bad as this one that we've just had now. So the whole objective is to sort of try and get everybody onto a sort of set standard. These are our latest set of enclosures, and these have been set up at levels that are well above any sort of flood damage, and we managed to keep these very, very dry. We've got storage space underneath, which is awesome, and this is what we should be doing with these enclosures at the back, these 5 enclosures. Now that is unfortunately going to be beyond our immediate reach to do that, because we've just lost quite a lot of business over the Easter weekend and the Easter holidays due to the flooding and all that sort of stuff, and so we've actually incurred quite a loss. Unfortunately, the flooding did come with its own problems, stranded reptiles and things that needed to be moved, and we got to a point where we also couldn't see to all of them, simply because the roads wouldn't allow it. We couldn't get to everybody, roads were blocked and so on, and we still had a very busy period of time, and particularly the informal settlements, low-cost housing sectors, where we were dealing with mambas and spitting cobras that had sought refuge and gone into houses, and yeah, costs didn't drop, they actually rose, but that's the sum total of it.